Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward, November 19th, HBO pay-per-view. All right. Today I'm going to give you my general thoughts and my prediction on the Kovalev Andre Ward fight. And now I'm going to make probably maybe three videos. Really, because there's a lot of information to go over, and it's kind of a hard fight to break down. This is a very historical fight, pound for pound fight, and I think it deserves a couple of videos. But today I'm going to give you general thoughts, maybe 10-15 minute video, quick channel update. I broke my microphone again. That's why I have boxing mitts right here stacked up. Yeah, but anyway, going to a temporary mic. But all right. Like I said, I want to do three, but today I'm gonna kind of just go over like my general thoughts on the fight, and I'll even tell you who I have winning. So I'm gonna kind of break it down in a few categories. I want to go over both of their record, real quick, and kind of tell you how I came to the conclusion that I came to. And the thing is, okay, today I went around, I looked on YouTube, and I'm blown away by the channels out there. A lot of them, they're really biased, and it's like pure emotion. These guys are like, they just get so involved and invested in a fighter that, it's like they're defending their wife or their mother. It's crazy to me, and and I noticed a lot of it. It really does boil down to racism, or maybe favoring your own race. I've noticed a lot of black guys will support Andre Ward, and a lot of white guys will support Kovalev. And no matter what, they're gonna defend that fighter. I don't care about any of that. When I look at a fight, and by the way, I'm 80%, meaning out of the last, I don't know, 14 or 15 really big fights, I'm 80% accurate on picking the winner. So, anyway, when I hear these other channels out there, it's clear to me that they're being biased, and they're picking a guy based on emotions. And when I look at a fight, I look at it like a court case. I gather the evidence. I look at all the facts. Not how I feel, like, oh, I like that guy or I like that. No, I don't care about any of that. When you're making a prediction, emotions, they should go out the window. Check them at the door. Any kind of biased thinking or emotional thinking, leave it at the door. Especially if you're gonna, get up here on YouTube and claim to be a boxing pundit, a boxing expert, or claim that your knowledge is above or superior to others. If you're going to claim that, then get on your channel and tell the truth. Don't get on there and try to twist and turn everything to fit your needs and your emotions. So when I look at it like a court case. I gather all the evidence, even if I don't like the guy, it doesn't matter. If I think he's going to win, he's going to win. And why can you trust me? Well, today alone, I get up every day and I actually box. I don't get all of my information on Google or YouTube. I actually get up every day and I box, and now I'm training. Shout out to Connor. Shout out to Connor, the guy I'm training right now. He's doing a really good job, but yeah, I have over 40 amateur fights. A lot of you already know, and 20 knockouts. I fought in the light heavyweight division as an amateur growing up. And a lot of it was unsanctioned, whatever you want to call it, underground boxing. A lot of it was. back then we didn't care. I mean, as long as we had two guys in a ring, putting money on it or whatever, that's what we did. But now today, I still get out there and box. Tomorrow morning, Connor, my sparring partner, will be here at 5, and we're gonna, like I said, I'm training him. So I've been in the ring, I've been around boxing a long time, and but I'm really humble, really modest. I'm not going to say I know more than everybody else, but you can trust my opinion. It's not, like I said, my knowledge and opinion is not formulated through YouTube, Google, Twitter, or emotions. It's based on facts. So let's get to it. Like I said, I'm going to make a few videos because, I mean, the Kovalev, Andre Ward Kovalev fight, it has so much emotions tied to it right now. I mean, it's almost become like, the Manny Pacquiao Mayweather thing where everyone was just like highly emotional, and I mean that was like crazy times. And wow, what a letdown! I mean, what a letdown that fight was, right? But okay, now I want to start with let's go over the resume real quick, and I'll tell you why I'm picking who I'm picking. Andre, I mean, both guys, 26-0. They're right at 6 foot tall, I believe. And I don't have notes. I have a few right here but they're just bullet points I'm going to talk about. So if I get a few things wrong, bear with me. Okay, yeah, like I said, they're both equally sized. I mean, you couldn't match up two guys any better. When it comes to size and their attributes and all that. So Andre Ward, his last fight with Alexander Brand was, that was August of this year, 2016. Right before that, Sullivan Barrera was, I believe, March 2016. And then Paul Smith, June 2015. Then, of course, we go back to 2013. Edwin Rodriguez in 2013. Chad Dawson in 2012, and I believe Carl Froch in 11. Okay, now think about that for a minute. Okay, so you have Andre Ward with 5 fights since 2012. If you want to add Froch, he has 6, but we'll say 5. I mean, that's crazy. That's 12, 13, 14, 15. That's nearly 5 fights in 5 years. Okay, now Kovalev has between 13 and 15, depending if you want to go back to 2011 or 2012. That alone is enough reason to pick Kovalev. I mean, that alone. Now, we're going to get deeper, way, way deeper into it, but that alone, I mean, activity is very, very important. You can't have 5 fights in 5 years and then get in a ring with a pound-for-pound fighter, one of the hardest-hitting heavyweights of all, our light heavyweights of all time, and one of the greatest. I mean, I would argue he is and will be, down in history as one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time. And then you have Andre Ward, like the fight with Brand. Just take Alexander Brand and Sullivan Barrera. What do you think Kovalev would have done to those two guys? I mean, think about that. If Sergey Kovalev was going to fight either Brand or Barrera next, he'd knock him out in 4 or 5 rounds. I mean, they'd be out of there, And then, Paul Smith. Now, I understand Andre Ward is acclimating to light heavyweight, but I believe, if my memory is correct, I believe he's only had 1 fight with a natural light heavyweight. Okay, that's point number 2 right there. Okay, you have a guy coming in fighting a natural light heavyweight that is comfortable fighting at light heavyweight. Taking the hardest shots that division has to offer. Fighting the toughest guys that division has to offer. Like Chilemba, Pascal, Muhammadi, Pascal again, Bernard Hopkins, we can keep going down the list, but I'm going to keep it to about five, their last five opponents, because I can really draw a good comparison by showing you, the last five opponents and what each guy has done against them, and then what each guy could have done if they had fought, each other's opponents, like what they could do. But okay, so you look at that, and like I say, Kovalev, granite chin, the guy. I mean, the guy. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen him hurt or rocked or even phased by a punch. And we know that Andre Ward has 15 knockouts. Okay, guy's got 15 knockouts. I mean, so we know he's not knocking Kovalev out. It is not going to happen. Yeah, okay, it's boxing. Anything can happen, but oh, my leg's going numb. But there's no way Andre Ward is going to knock out Kovalev. The only chance Andre Ward has, and I'll tell you my prediction, and I'm going to get in a little, I'm going to break it down a little more for you, but I'm giving you 3 or 4 really good points to think about. Like I said, number one, that activity. You got a guy that has had 5 fights in 5 years, and only 3 or 2, or no, 3 at light heavyweight. Okay, at 175 pounds. Everything else was a 168. Was a super middleweight, and he is going up against a natural light heavyweight. I mean, with a granite chin, in his prime, young, hungry, in the best condition, the best shape of his life. I mean, Kovalev is going to go into the ring, I mean, like a piece of iron. I mean, that guy is going to be tough as nails, in the shape. Like, he will be, that night, if there is any way to gauge it, I guarantee you on fight night, Kovalev will be in the best shape of his life. I mean, it's just a fact. Now, in the last one, I know what people are thinking against Isaac Chilemba, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Chilemba. He didn't look so great, but he admitted that he underestimated him, and he didn't have a good camp. He didn't have Jackson, his coach, John Jackson, throughout the whole fight, or the whole camp rather. Yeah, he underestimated him, and Chilemba is, he's a good fighter in my opinion. He's a top 10. Okay, and that's my point number 3. Let's compare the competition real quick. I went over the names: Brand Barrera, Paul Smith, Rodriguez, Dawson, and Frotch. Okay, and then Kovalev, we got Chilemba, Pascal, Mohammadi, Pascal again, and Hopkins in 2011 or 2014. Okay, hang on. I'm having a technical difficulty. My chair is not working with me. Anyway, but okay, so let's compare real quick. Like I said, Kovalev fighting top 10 guys. Andre Ward, top 30. I mean, if you want to, we could start with, well, you know what? Let's go back to Dawson. Now, we all know. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know. Probably, Chad Dawson was completely drained. He looked good. He was great at 175, but at 168, at a super middleweight, I mean, he was completely drained. And I've read articles and heard testimonies about the trouble he had cutting that weight. And it was either him or Rodriguez that came. I think it was Edwin Rodriguez that came in overweight 2 times before the fight. But anyway, Chad Dawson, like I said, looked great against Jean Pascal and Bernard Hopkins at light heavyweight. Correct, yeah, light heavyweight. But when you drain him down, he was obviously, he was like a skeleton in there. No power, fatigued, worn out. And, Ward, if Ward was to fight, the light heavyweight healthy Chad Dawson, it wouldn't have gone down like that. Okay. Now Edwin Rodriguez. Now I keep hearing about the tournament that Edwin Rodriguez won in order to put his name in the hat as a serious opponent for Andre Ward. But I mean, the dude is a B minus C plus, maybe a C. He's a C level fighter, in my opinion. He's a third tier fighter, a club fighter, a fringe contender, whatever you want to call it. Edwin Rodriguez is a joke, and I know I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, he called him out." And what does that matter? If he called him out, it doesn't matter who called him out. He should have been fighting DeGale. Now let's talk about that. When when they were negotiating the James DeGale Andre Ward fight, what did Andre Ward do? He picked Edwin Rodriguez. I mean, and he picked him. It wasn't a mandatory or anything like that. He should have fought James DeGale, but he knows that he probably would have lost that fight. So like I say, you go all the way back, even with Carl Froch. I mean, I think Carl Froch. I mean, he's got a couple of good wins, and not many. It's like so if you look at the level of competition, and I know what you're probably thinking. Oh well, Shalimba, Pascal, Muhammadi, but a 48 or 49-year-old Bernard Hopkins, compared to Rodriguez and compared to Dawson and Froch and Barrera and Brand, but it is a dramatic comparison, really. If you know your boxing. I could get into it, and I know a lot of people. When I mentioned DeGale, he got beat by Porky. I don't know if you guys saw that. I watched it in this room actually, the night that fight happened. But at that time when in 2013, or was it 2013? I think DeGale could have beat Andre Ward. That's my opinion. But yeah, like I said, Dawson was drained. Rodriguez is a bum, in my opinion. And then you have, guys like Paul Smith, Barrera, Brand, Sullivan. Who are these guys? Like definitely a casual has no idea. And I don't mean casual in a bad way. I mean definitely people who don't watch boxing every day have no idea who these people are. Only the boxing heads like us know who they are. So you look at that, the level of competition, and in a 5-year period, you have a man that has had 5 fights in 5 years. I mean, it's insane. And 3 of the 5, I mean, I'm going to repeat it. 5 fights in 5 years, and 3 of the 5 have been Brand, Barrera, and Smith. And you know what? He looked terrible in those fights. I mean, he didn't look good. I'm sorry. And he was getting really frustrated too and I believe it was the Brand fight. I think it was the Brand fight. Yeah, he was getting hit, and he started fighting dirty and getting frustrated. Again, what would Kovalev do to those guys? I mean, Kovalev would annihilate them. He would just annihilate them. I mean, it might be another incident like somebody gets hurt badly in the ring. He would annihilate those guys. But so okay, the level of competition right there. And another thing that I want to kind of mention is I think Andre Ward is constantly getting coddled. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that just give him a pass. I mean, they just give him a pass, and I honestly like him. And I've heard really good things about him and really bad things about Andre Ward, but I don't understand it. Why he is considered like a pound for pound. I mean, when I look at his resume, what has he done? I don't get it. Like the Super Six back in the day. Like, what has he done? I don't understand. And then you tell me the guy that fought Brand, Barrera, and Smith is a pound for pound. Like, he looked terrible. He pitter pat, no power behind his shots. I mean, he had that jab working pretty much in the last 2. He had that rangy jab working, and I know he's going to try that on Kovalev too. But Kovalev's going to counter that. But I just don't see it. I don't see, Kovalev won his first title against Cleverly, the WBO, I believe, unified, what, three different titles after the Bernard Hopkins fight. In his prime, young, hungry, best shape of his life, you know, beat, what's his name? Oh, God, what's his name? Pascal. Yeah, beat Pascal in his own backyard. And in that fight, I think that fight is going to kind of resemble the Andre Ward fight. So, if you want my prediction, I believe Kovalev is going to win by TKO. I think that Andre. I'm thinking really. I'm thinking before the words come out of my mouth because I don't want to. But yeah, it's like if I'm gonna have my channel, I'm gonna tell you guys what I think, not what I think you want to hear, or what might be popular. I'm gonna tell you what I truly believe, and like I said, I'm at 80%. I'm usually right. I think Kovalev is gonna win TKO. I think it's going to be a technical knockout in the later rounds. And I think Andre Ward's going to hold. I do. I think there's going to be a lot of holding. I think he'll get a little bit dirty, but I have him winning by TKO. For one, Andre Ward just now got back into the ring. He's got that ring rust, but I think he's kind of like I don't like the way that they've scheduled everything. I mean, he went from one fight right into a training camp, another fight. Like I'm talking about after Paul Smith, like the Barrera fight in March of 2016 of the year we're in now. Jumped into that fight. After that one, I think he had like a week or two off. Went right back into another training camp for the Alexander Brand fight. Had that fight, and then now jumped right back into another training camp to fight Kovalev. I don't like that. I mean, something about that I just don't like. And look, Ward is not the Andre Ward that he was back then. He's not the Andre Ward that beat Carl Froch. We're not going to see that Andre Ward on Fight Night on November 19th, I believe it is. We're not going to see that. We're going to see an older version of Andre Ward. I mean, he's getting older, and really, what kind of work could he be getting? What kind of work could he be putting in right now that would compare to Kovalev? I mean, I can't imagine what kind of sparring partner they would get for him that would emulate Kovalev. Can't imagine. I have no idea. I'd be curious to find out. But I think the only chance Andre Ward has of winning is if he pitter patters and tries to outpoint Kovalev all night. I mean, that's the only chance if he can win on the cards. But I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, I think Kovalev's going to walk him down and eventually knock him out. I think a TKO. I believe the referee will come in because they want to protect Andre Ward. I mean, he's got a future in broadcasting and commentating, and he had a 3-fight deal with HBO, but this will be the third fight. So I don't know if they're going to renew that or whatever. I'm sure he'll stick around with Rock Nation. But yeah, I mean, unless there's some kind of corruption here or they have a deal for a rematch, I don't see it happening. I mean, there's no way Andre Ward is going to win. I feel like at this point in his career, I'm not going to call the man a hype job, but I'm going to say the fans hype him up. There is a big difference. I mean, the fans out there, man. I mean, I hear he's pound for pound. I mean, the greatest fighter of all time and has ever lived, and he can beat he can go to middleweight and beat Golovkin, or he can jump up to light heavyweight and beat Kovalev. And I hear then I look at his resume. It's like he's got Brand, Barrera, Smith, Rodriguez, Dawson, and Froch. And it's just like, and then we could go back before that, but, get a little deeper. But that's my other video. I'm going to really break down his resume and and tell you why I feel the way I feel. Like I said, I feel like the media has coddled him. I feel like there's biased channels out there that, will just say anything to protect him and his name. Um, you know, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got for now. I want to, like I said, I want to really break it down in another video. Hang on, let me look at that real quick. But yeah, I mean, all he's got to do is win enough rounds to get the decision, and he will. If he doesn't win by TKO, he'll definitely win by decision. I mean, I almost said I was going to tell you guys, like, I'll tell you what, if Kovalev loses, I will shut my channel down, but that's a little bit ridiculous. But I mean, I'm that confident that there's no way Andre Ward beats him. And I had a lot of people telling me after the Chilima fight that Kovalev's or Andre Ward's gonna he's gonna knock him out. There's no way that Kovalev can beat Ward. And like I said, that was one fight and that was it. The only mistake that Kovalev can make is if he is too careful, and he needs to go in there and be Crusher. He needs to go in there and be the Crusher, be Kovalev, and do he needs to be himself in there. Now, be careful, of course, but I mean, Andre Ward's not knocking him out. Maybe a knockdown. I mean, I that's like a in a dream, but maybe a knockdown, and that's it. So he has nothing to fear. It's almost like the Pacquiao Mayweather fight. And I think it might look a lot like that. I don't know, but yeah, that's my prediction. I've got Kovalev winning by TKO, and look, put your thoughts below. Comment, like I said, if you guys, if there's no comments and you don't subscribe, I don't know that you're out there, and I'm not going to be one of the the type of channels that goes around putting my videos in every different Facebook group and all that, bugging the crap out of people. But like I said, I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of connections, and the more videos I do, the better I'll get, But, another thing, it seems like every video that I do, I get a little bit better, and I'm not using notes anymore. Everything's off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, whether you hate me, you like me, you want me to shut my channel down, you think I suck, whatever, put your comments below. And really, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your prediction below, and then after the fight, we can come back to this video, and we can see who was right. All right, Counterpunch Boxing. Like I said, 2 more videos coming your way with the Ward and Andre Ward Kovalev fight, and also I'm going to do a Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and a Nicholas Walters Lomachenko, Vasily Lomachenko prediction. So yeah, and interesting thing, I mentioned it a while back, but Walters, he has a draw with Sosa. There's a fight with Ortiz, the heavyweight Ortiz. Jason Sosa will be on that undercard, so keep your eye out for that. I liked him. He seemed like a good kid. I mean, I think that Walters got robbed, but he might be able to make it far. Well, not far, but we'll see. He kind of reminds me of the guy that fought Bradley, and they had a draw. Was it Chavez? What was his name? He's got the tattoos all over him. I can see his face in my head. He fought real dirty. Remember that guy? Wow, I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, Jason Sosa kind of reminds me of him a little bit. But anyway, all right. So yeah, Counterpunch Boxing. Please subscribe. Please share. Leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. You guys have a good one.